Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Naina Redhu experience. This is episode 100. I have been looking forward to doing this episode. What I'm going to be talking about in this episode has taken me almost an entire year to articulate, to practice. It has been a long time coming. I must preface before I start, this is not going to be an easy subject for me to talk about, and for some of you it might not be an easy subject to hear about as well. I will be talking about death, grief and loss. I am fortunate enough to still have my parents around. I am aware that at some point we all die. Death is not something that we are taught to talk about, or not something that we like talking about. If you bring it up in a conversation with friends, they will try to switch the subject. If someone has suffered loss, they probably don't want to talk about it. It is sad, and for me to talk about this is hard because I am not going to be talking about the death of someone from my family. This is someone who has a family, and he was my friend, and I don't want to be disrespectful, which is why it has taken me so long to talk about it. He has a family, he has a wife, he has a child, he has parents, sisters, and he was a friend of mine. We weren't even childhood friends, so I don't want it to feel that I am somehow co-opting his story or taking anything away from his family. I will not be using names, although I don't know, maybe I will be, I'm not sure. He was, so basically what I wanted to talk about was the passing away of a friend of mine, and how I kind of came to terms with the grief, and how I have decided to use it in a positive way. So this is not a formulaic thing. I'm not trying to be an agony aunt, but I thought it would be nice to pass on this message. In a way, it is my tribute to him. It is unfortunate that it took his passing for me to come to realize this. I mean, I knew about it, the principle that I'm going to be talking about, but to actually see it in stark reality in front of my face, and then to try and emulate it and then try to live by it, is a gift that I think I have chosen to take from his passing. So this friend of mine passed away 3-4 years ago. He passed away due to pancreatic cancer, and I had known him for about, it would be about 10-12 years now, but I first met him in a different city. We were from the same school. We did not know each other when we were in school. We got together in Bombay. We used to hang out, party. We had common friends, and over a period of time, we got close. If I knew he was in the city, and if I needed something, I knew I could call him up and be like, hey, I need help, or I need something, or can we hang out? We weren't keeping tabs on what we were doing every day, which is what typically people think that your best friend is, that someone you talk to every day. We would talk rarely. We were in touch on Facebook. We would message each other once in a while. He got married. I was not able to make it for the marriage. I don't think I was in town. We always used to joke about how, despite him having a friend like me who's a photographer, I didn't photograph his wedding. I saw him. I mean, I know we didn't really know what was up with him. That's what usually happens when you get married. You kind of spend time with your family, with your wife, especially if you have a child, you have responsibilities. Those are your priorities. So I was probably meeting him once in 6 months, maybe once in a year, talking to him once in a year. What's up? How's it going? He used to keep tabs on my blog, and every time I wrote something which he found interesting, I remember he would send me a message saying, hey, I read that on your blog and that was quite interesting. So for some reason, we were close. not in the conventional sense that we were stuck at the hip or anything, but I considered myself very close to him, and I think so did he. I used to hang out with him in Bombay when I was going through my divorce. So I think there was that element of being together through tough times, which is why probably I think we were close. And then I saw him here after many years after he got married, he had a baby, and we met in the middle of his cancer. I think by that time, the family knew that nothing could be done. They had tried a bunch of things, and he was meeting his friends to say goodbye. I wasn't aware of the extent of his illness, but from the school network, I had heard that he might be ill. Obviously, this is not something that you just call up someone and say, hey, I heard you have cancer. Is it true? You don't do that to anybody, least of all your friends. But I did want to check up on him, so I would message him once in a while and say like, hey, what's up? When are we meeting? Long time, etc. Eventually, he messaged back saying, okay, let's meet. And I coordinated with his wife and we met up at a restaurant. And he walked in and he was basically, he was really, really thin. The cancer had clearly taken its toll. And I maintained composure in the sense that I didn't show that I was shocked, or, I mean, what are you going to say that, oh my God, what happened to you? Like, that's disgusting. That's a disgusting response. So I just basically stayed poker face. I talked to him. I talked to his wife. Their child was there. And it was pretty clear that they had kind of decided that this was happening and they had accepted it. I saw him over the rest of his lifespan. I saw him in hospital as he got worse. And I was not able to go to the funeral. I couldn't. I just couldn't. I don't know if I regret it. I might have, the process of grief might have been quicker in the healing process. I don't know. If I could go back in time, I would go for his funeral, but I can't change that. So there's that. Over the years after that, after he passed, we would, I would be hanging out with friends. I would be driving back from somewhere. I would be the co-passenger, and I would just start crying because I would think about him. Facebook would throw up these photos, old memories, and every time I saw that, I would choke up. And it was strange. I don't think I've ever had that kind of a reaction for anything. I was caught by surprise at the grief I was going through. And I couldn't, you try to rationalize in your head that, he's dead. He's gone. You have memories. But you can't really rationalize something like this. Because, again, this is not something we talk about. Grief, loss, someone's death, someone's passing away. We don't discuss it with friends or family. We probably read about it once in a while online because that's, a private way of dealing with it. I didn't reach out to any friends. Nobody reached out to me. Around his death anniversary, there would be some Facebook message that would pop up, and it was a mess. I was a mess. And I didn't want to express it because I thought it might somehow feel that, his wife might be like, who is she to be feeling so upset? So that, I get it. It was just hard for me to express it. Of course, my husband knew about it. I would talk about it sometimes, and it would always end in tears. This year, in 2019, I was able to bring myself to see his life for what it was. He was a great guy. He was enthusiastic about everything. He had this energy about him. He was sweet. He was down to earth. And he always, whenever I blogged about something, he would be like, oh, cool blog post. Like, I saw that, nice photos. And Not a lot of my friends do that. There are very few of them who actually do that, because it takes time to actually go to someone's blog and keep tabs on what they're actually writing about. It's much easier to do the whole Instagram scroll, etc. This year, I think I came to terms with the grief, in the sense that I don't think I'll ever get over that he is not around anymore. It is still really weird. But then I remember things, and there was something that we talked about when he was very close to passing away, and he said that, you know, one of the things I said that was that it's not that, I mean, I'm still here, you know, I'm still alive. There are things that I get to do that he never will. He's not going to see his child grow up. He's not going to see his wife grow old. He's not going to see himself grow old. He's not going to travel to so many places that he could have otherwise. And it hit me that I get to do those things. I get to travel to places I've never been to before. I get to go back to the places that I enjoy going to. I get to write about my experiences. I get to make videos and put them on the internet for the whole world to see. I get to wake up every morning. I get to drink coffee. I get to make calls and talk to people I've never spoken with before, or I get to talk to my friends. I get to snuggle and cuddle with my husband. I get to talk to my parents. I get to have lunches. I get to, everything that I do, he can't. And it used to make me feel extremely sad. But this year, at some point, it switched, and I decided to look at it as a way of paying tribute to him, to his life. That everything that I do is something that I get to do. It is a gift. So for me to be able to color my hair, it's something I get to do. That I'm, you know, the roots are showing now, so I'd be like, oh my god, my roots are showing. Phir se karna padega. I will have to color my hair again so that the roots don't show. Now I look at it as, wait, I get to do that. It's not that I have to do A, B, and C. It's not that I have to post something to Instagram. It's not that I have to run a blog. I have to go and do an assignment. I have to pay the rent. I have to wash my clothes. I have to take a shower. Oh my god, it's so much work. No, I get to do these things. It is a privilege to be able to do these things. It means that I am alive. This has been the thing that has kept me going in 2019. I've had a tough year in terms of the amount of money my business has made has not been as good as I would have liked it to. But I don't care. I still get to run a business. I still get to be an entrepreneur. I still get to do things every day. Kicking and screaming and complaining doesn't matter. I get to do it. I get to kick and scream and complain. He can't do that. He's that got to me. And I chose to look at it as an opportunity, a privilege that all of us who are alive have. And I hope I will continue to use this in the coming years for the rest of my life. Which is why I wanted to share this with anybody who wants to listen to this or is going to listen to this. I thought this is something that we are all aware of at some level, but it doesn't hit us. If you are someone who has suffered loss, find a way to celebrate their life, find a way to pay tribute to their life by living yours. Not just by existing and surviving, but by living yours, by acknowledging the privilege of being alive. That is the message that I wanted to put out in this video. It has It took me a long time to be able to do this. I mean no disrespect to his family, or I don't mean to take away. Their grief is obviously different, and they lost someone, you know, their child lost a father, his wife lost a husband. Those are, I don't know, I think those are much bigger relationships, and the grief is much larger and vast and deep, etc. But he meant something to me, and I have never felt like this before this. I am sure there will be more. We are getting old, we will be losing friends and family as it goes along. But I think this is a good way to pay tribute to all of them. You get to live. I get to live. I get to paint. I get to show my art. I get to talk. I get to breathe. I hope you will be able to come to terms with your grief as well. At some point it will happen. And I hope 2020 will be a year where all of us can do better, acknowledge our privilege, and pay tribute to the ones that we've lost. This episode is dedicated to my friend Bargoti, and I miss you. And I told you it just ends in tears every time. And I have to have a better year next year. I owe it to him and his memory and his life. So here's to 2020. Thank you for listening and watching. And good luck. Bye.